I have somebody checking, so let's get rolling. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Board of Selectmen meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to go a little bit out of order. I'm going to have the Board of Health come up, if that way we can get you guys right out of the way for adjustment in. We've been, just to recap, this was a discussion of taking the water board duties, moving them away over to the Concom position, which I believe that person has accepted those duties. So I think that's going to work out all right once that person starts, if they already haven't. Do you know if they even started yet? Mm-hmm. Or they did start? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're on track with that. Then there was, the discussion in regards to the additional stuff that's just come into the Board of Health office over the past years, and the increase in a little bit of a workload there. So what we did is we took the 5 hours from the Board of Health, we moved them over to the Concom's position, but then there's now the request that we add a couple more hours, I believe, add 2.5 hours back to the Board of Health. I did see the letter you sent out earlier. You emailed out today, was it this morning?
I did it this morning because I've been waiting to talk to them.
Yeah, no
They
problem.
don't meet till Wednesday, so
No,
I said I just
no problem. I saw it, and I mean, by any means, go ahead if you guys want to go over any of those details. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't see an issue with the addition of the 2.5 hours from my standpoint. But if you guys have any other questions or concerns, go right ahead. But I'll give the floor to you guys for a moment if you want to just talk, if you had anything that you wanted to present.
Not at this time. If you're okay with it, that's what we're looking for.
if that's what you're looking for.
Well, again, that's my opinion. But if the guys have any other questions, they can.
I think in the last meeting, one thing we were going through for the November STM, kind of identifying things that need to be on November versus those that might be a 1 versus a 2. This fell into the 2 category, so maybe not in November, but we said let's kind of consider it once we took a look at this. Only a couple things I'd say here. There's really 4 primary things you've cited, one of which we talked about when we took the septic loan program in, and we determined at that time, or we thought at that time, it could be absorbed with existing hours. The other thing is number 4 has to do with depending on if things change, meaning that it's a potential future change that might be instituted by the board that would require more work. New permits for keeping of animals, it's a completely new process, but that is instituted, correct?
No.
Okay.
That is something that they're currently.
So this is one of those things where you're saying we know we're going to be changing some of our protocols that's going to require more hours.
Yes, correct.
But they're not in place now.
No,
Right.
They were waiting for the planning board to figure out what they were doing with the zoning. No.
See, I personally am not sure what I like is, okay, there's some very specific things, 3 of which are net new and potentially coming, except the haulers. That sounds like it's current regulations, is that right?
It is.
They put it in this year.
Okay. From your perspective, does this need to be an immediate change, or is this something that, given that some of the stuff isn't even in place, that we would look to institute with next fiscal year budget?
The septic loan program has been being utilized, so that is up and running. That's active, taking some time. The animal control, the permitting.
Yep.
We've recently hired a new animal control officer.
Animal
Inspector, and he's doing barn inspections, and as a result, that's in place.
Mm-hmm. So
The problem is the board has had a problem over the years trying to find out where all the animals are in town.
I understand why we're doing it.
Right.
So there's more administrative duties being driven by the person we just hired.
Yes.
To do that. To me, it still feels like a 2 to me versus a November 8th town meeting, but that didn't mean we couldn't do something in the spring.
Right. What's the, so we're talking 2.5 hours. What's the rate?
My rate, $20.24.
Ooh, that's it.
$2,300 annually.
Thank you. Yep.
It's more work, right?
I'm sticking with the 2 on from last time.
From your perspective, the board's perspective, is this something that should not wait past November, this upcoming STM? We would expect we're going to have something in the spring. I would expect we'll have one in the spring. We tend to have one in the spring.
It generally, actually, yeah.
So what's the immediacy of the need?
Are you saying to start water now, or the whole process in the spring, or next?
No, I'm talking about, I look at it this way, the water we've moved, right, at the 5
Yeah.
hours, I'd say increasing the, your 35 to 37 and a half, is that an immediate need? I know it sounds like we're probably splitting
No, actually,
hairs.
was it 35 to 37? Wasn't it?
That's
I'm
actually
originally
the question.
40.
Okay, so you were 40, so it went down to 35.
Originally 40, so you're taking the water now and down
Yeah.
to 35.
Right.
Yep.
And I would like to have the 37 and a half now, but
And that's actually the question. It's my understanding that, or the belief is that the position was 35 and it was increased from 35 to 40. But there seems to be I think a point of maybe discrepancy that the position up until 2006 or so was a 37 and a half, and it was bumped up to 40 from 37 and a half back in '06. Is that seems to be what I understand to be the case, as opposed to it being at 35, that it had been at 37 and a half, and it was bumped up to 40 to
But
support
the
the
original
water
position
commission?
included some water duties.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right, so it was
had been
increased to
37 and a
40
half.
because there were additional water duties brought on with the billing process.
Correct, so brought up to 40
40.
to support the water.
Right.
So I think what we're saying is we're looking to bring it back just to that point.
you-
that it was at.
Okay, at the end of the day, there's definitely additional duties. There's definitely additional work that the Board of Health has taken on over the years. I mean, just since 2006, you can probably find 5 or 6 different things that just health-wise, I want to say, like, what was some of the stuff that was
emergency
the bird flu stuff, the emergency, there was just
H1N1.
additional things. I don't think that 2.5 hours is an unrealistic number. I don't think that's where we're going. We're talking about $2,300 annually here in the budget that we have. So I don't know whether there's definitely more time that the 2.5 hours are not gonna go away, or it's, the job's not gonna not get done because of it. I think that whether we do it now or in the spring STM is even a, what are we gonna gain? $400? I don't, if the need's there, they're requesting it, whether it's a 1, 2, or 3 on our list, which is what I wanna, we definitely should stick to that. But let's say that, but again, at the end of the day, really, what's the gain?
Well, a couple things here. The septic loan program was brought on and to be absorbed, right? So to come back now and say, that's additional work I can't do within my current hours allocated, that's something I personally think we gotta look at, because I think capacity, workforce management, that whole clerk shirt, this is the gist of some of the things we've talked about. I agree with you. 2.5 hours of really? Am I really standing on principle for 2.5 hours? I kind of am.
Yeah.
Probably because all the things that you cited aren't even cited in the write-up we got in terms of additional work. If it's additional work, that was the ask. Explain what increased, and of the 4 things were cited, 2 of them haven't even started yet, and
But
2 of them have.
wasn't 37 and a half, though, the base that will?
No,
That
it was,
included
but it
some water.
included some water duties.
At that time.
No, my understanding is 37 and a half prior to the water coming on board in 2006. Is that
Mr.
not
Schofield?
correct?
Yeah, so I want to make sure this is very clear, because I researched this in detail to make sure I have it right. And Missy, correct me if I say something wrong, but from day one, Missy's duties always included some number of hours for water, from day one. So it'd be hard to imagine that any less than 2.5 hours was assigned to the water portion of the duty. Okay, so you'd have to argue that less than 2.5,
Yeah.
you were spending less than 2.5 hours a week on water. That's what you'd have to be arguing. I
Yeah,
find that difficult to believe, I have to be quite honest with you. So that's what you'd have, to argue. Okay, and then the 2.5 hours were added because however much time there was before wasn't enough for the water and to get it to 37 and a half.
For the billing.
Huh?
Primarily for the billing that we
billing
took
was the
on.
reason.
Sorry, to get it to 40, yes.
Right.
Yep.
Well, just from a recording standpoint, from say like a timesheet standpoint, wouldn't there be a record indicating what it was, say, in 2006 and where the bump jumped to 40 from?
I mean, the position was a dual position when it started, so there was no segregation, if that's what you're trying to understand, or you just think...
My understanding was that the position was 37 and a half, period.
Right.
And in roughly around 2006, it was bumped from the 37 and a half position to 40 to include supporting functions for the water.
Right.
Additional functions. Additional, not at that point, but there was always support for the water, but additional time to the water.
Right.
So up until, if that's correct, up until around 2006, it was 37 and a half at that point anyway. So it bumped to 40 to give the water an additional 2.5 on top of what was already being provided.
And
so it just seems as though we just want to roll it back to the 37 and a half.
Yeah,
Right, but you have to, but what we're saying is, okay, so if we're gonna say that that originally it was 37 and a half hours. And what Rich was just saying, that 2.5 of those hours per week was saying what was just for water. All right? Now, there was probably more or less. Okay.
I'd say half an hour.
Okay.
They would, just to backtrack, back in 2000 when I was hired, things to be done for the water were very minuscule. Minutes, attending a meeting once a month, if they had one once a month, giving them their bills. So you're talking about maybe a half an hour. I'll give you maybe an hour tops.
Wasn't Milford doing the billing at that
Milford
time?
was doing everything. You had a water leak, you called Milford. So
Okay.
to 2.5 hours a week for water back then,
Okay, so then,
It would.
so did it make a big jump when we got the, so you're saying we went from an hour?
Right, when they got rid of Milford Water
well,
Company.
this sounds like we should only give them 3 hours to water, not 5. That's the case you're making.
No, what she's getting to, and to her point, was what I'm kind of understanding here, is what she's getting at is that it increased so much that it almost took some Board of Health time away. Look, we're talking about, we're wasting a lot of time on minutes.
Can we swing it?
And for the record,
Can we
we
swing it?
firmly believe that the water department needs at minimum the 5, if not possibly a little bit more.
It doesn't matter. Can we swing it?
Well, I mean, I
Is the
think
question.
what we did say is
I mean,
we did
they-
say we're gonna put a placeholder out there for this discussion for the November, right? So we can still put something on the warrant. FinCom
then-
can review it and move forward if that's the direction you wanna go. I think, hey, I'll say it, I am sitting more in principle because I think this is the type of thing is we do have to get better at understanding what our workload is, because honestly, we don't have a clue. And if we ever get to a point where we can actually run this like an operations, we have to get a clue.
But I think your premise is, you're coming off the premise that you believe that there was already 2.5 hours of work being done already out of the 37.
Based on previous discussions, Tom, at this table.
Correct.
I don't think anyone agreed with what we walked away with. That's my
What
guess.
did you want to say?
I'm
But
just saying,
I hear you.
they will meet on Wednesday if you guys want a more detailed list. I just threw that quickly together because I haven't had a chance to really sit down with the board members as a whole board.
Okay, why don't you do that, and we'll discuss
then
it further
and
at the next
then-
meeting.
Do we want to put, well, we've got a signed warrant by next Monday.
We can put a placeholder on it and not do it if we don't want to. But, I'd rather, again, be proactive, so if there's a,
And that's out of town hall salary?
wait, when do we have to sign that?
Monday.
Oh, this is coming Monday?
I would say the septic.
Are we
tank,
meeting
I'd
this
be
coming
careful
Monday?
with that one, because
Oh.
we talked ad nauseum about increased workload,
just-
where that could be
Just put
absorbed.
something in, we can take it out or
Former
leave
chairman
it
was
in
very
right
adamant on
before
that
we
one.
sign. Just don't put it on the
It was
signature
just things
page.
that I was
Yeah.
trying
Make
to
the
think
signature
of that
page
has
separate.
changed immediately,
You know what I'm saying?
It's fine.
Recently.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, if we could do that, let's do that, and again, yeah, all
And
right,
I'll
cool.
email it to you
We'll-
guys
next Monday?
And then
Yeah.
you'll-
Oh, yeah, send it to us right away, that way we'll have some
Right,
time. If we
then
have any
we-
questions, we can talk about it over the weekend and stuff, if we need to reach out to each other, okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, good night. Consider approval of sale. We have approval of the sale of bond relative to the purchase and renovation of the Taft Library.
This is the one that takes all the reading, everything highlighted after read.
Have to read that?
To read the whole thing.
No, you don't have to read any of that.
It's great.
You don't have to read it. Diane was just kidding. We have volume apparently, but no picture.
Want me to do something?
So it'd be a great time to read it then.
Yeah.
No picture.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you want us to read that first, or do you?
Nope, just a very brief summary. The bond was sold today, and the interest rate, the coupon rate, it averages 3.0%, which is, when I last spoke to you, it was 3.5% was the estimates at that time, but it came in at 3.0, and with the true interest cost, after you take into consideration the premium and everything, of 2.76. So that's good. That's good. There was 4 bids, so it was competitive. So our next step is to actually get it formally and officially approved.
Perfect.
And that does require the vote that you have in front of you.
Oh, you have to say all that stuff in the vote? Oh, my God. You can't just say as written?
Nope.
I would. I borrow that pen right there.
Shall I get started?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that the sale of the $2,060,000 general obligation municipal purpose loan of 2013 bonds of the town dated November 1st, 2013, to Robert W. Baird and Company, Incorporated, at the price of $2,106,575.90 is hereby approved and confirmed. The bond shall be payable on February 15th of the years, and in the principal amounts and bear interest as the respective rates as follows. So this next section is just going to be year amount, interest rate, and I'm just going to run through those. 2015, $20,000, interest rate 0.5%. 2016, $25,000, 0.8%. 2017, $175,000, 3%. 2018, $175,000, 3%. 2019, $165,000, 3%. 2020, $160,000, 3%. 2021, $160,000, 3%. 2022, $160,000, 3%. 2023, $160,000, 3%. 2025, $310,000, 3%. 2027, $300,000, 3%. 2029, $250,000, 3.375%. And that further voted that the bonds maturing on February 15th, 2025, February 15th, 2027, and February 15th, 2029, each a term bond, shall be subject to mandatory redemption or mature as follows. Term bond due February 15th, 2025, year 2024, $160,000, 2025, $150,000. Term bond due February 15th, 2027, year 2026, $150,000, 2027, $150,000. Term bond due date February 15th, 2029, year 2028, $125,000, 2029, $125,000. Further voted that in connection with the marketing and sale of the bonds, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated October 15th, 2013, and a final official statement dated October 21st, 2013, the official statement, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, be and hereby ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. Further voted that the bond shall be subject to redemption at the option of the town upon such terms and conditions as are set forth in the official statement. Further voted that the town treasurer and the Board of Selectmen be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver a continuing disclosure undertaking in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the bonds for the benefit of the holders of the bond from time to time. Further voted that we authorize and direct the town treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures in such form as the town treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax-exempt status of the bonds. Further voted that each member of the Board of Selectmen, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes. I further certify that the votes were taken at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, and that a notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda for the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above votes, was filed with the town clerk, and a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours in or on the municipal building that the office of the town clerk is located, or, if applicable, in accordance with alternative method of notice prescribed by or approved by the Attorney General set forth in 940 CMR 29.03 2B, at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting, and remain so posted at the time of the meeting that no deliberations or decision in connection with the sale of the bonds were taken in executive session, all in accordance with General Law C.30A, 1825, as amended.
Second.
Anybody need that repeated? Discussion? Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yay, all set.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And while I have the mic, I just wanted to point out and congratulate everybody because our rating was increased from a AA to a AA plus after the last review, and that's a testament to a lot of hard work by you, the board, the finance committee, and the financial team in the town, including the assessor and the town accountant. So good job for that.
Yeah, that's a lot of good work put in by a lot of people, and thank you guys ever so much for getting that done and getting that rating up. It really, because we were concerned about a few things that we thought were going to cause a problem that ended up panning out all right. So
Nope. There's a
Thank
lot
you
of
for
good
all your
things
hard
going
work.
on
Yes.
that contributed to that, so.
Well, I mean, I think to add to that, it speaks to directionally sort of the steps we've undertaken. And I just want to say, that doesn't mean we have all the money in the world to spend. It just means I think we've got a good foundation in place.
It does, and I think that was brought out in the review, that the town as a whole is working solidly towards
Right.
a good financial position. We might not be there, but, Standard & Poor's was really very, very happy with what they heard and saw.
yeah, I just don't want to put him on the spot, but Rich puts as a volunteer puts in a lot of time above and beyond just finance committee meetings. I think you said you were here, at noontime today, and you've been here all day at the town hall preparing to do some stuff, so I, can't thank you enough for all the hard work you put in.
So we'll put
As
them on
well
the
as-
spot.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm gonna.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Contract with Municipal Resources for recruitment of the town manager coordinator?
So we have, we've got two versions of the agreement, and I believe we're being joined. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Good evening, thank you for having me.
It's
Alan Gould.
Alan Gould is joining us from MRI, so if you have any questions on the procedures, the process, we can run those by him.
Did you guys meet before this meeting too? Did we hear at the last meeting, or is this the first time you've come?
First time I've been here, I've been corresponding with Diane.
Okay, yeah, because I was out at the last meeting, and I know there was.
So basically, the two versions that we have, one, I think in your proposal, there's two versions, one with a panel, one without a panel.
Actually, the full process, the longer version, would include 3 panels.
Yep.
Up to 3 panels, and that could be a citizen panel, an employee panel, and our MRI panel. And then in the abbreviated version, 2 of those panels would likely go away, and we would just have an MRI panel, because we're not comfortable moving forward unless the candidates, the semifinalists,
Right.
are completely vetted by our professional panel, and we like to do that on site.
Okay. All right, and I believe the part of the proposal in terms of, I think we've got a year in terms of things don't prove satisfactory, that we can revisit. Now, does one of these agreements incorporate that and the other does not
I
incorporate?
put it in both.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, I think that, one, it was, could I ask you just
Sure.
a quick overview of what the process is? I mean, I
Sure.
think the panelists have been well explained, but I think there's a lot of support and facilitation we're receiving through this, and I'm not sure if I've ever done it justice in session for people listening. So I don't know if you want to give us a quick update on what's encompassed here.
Sure. So what we do is we start out with a conversation with you folks. So what we need to get is kind of what your priorities are, what are you looking for, what are the strengths of the candidate that you need, and what are the deficiencies that can be tolerated. Sometimes we don't talk about those. Just by identifying the strengths, it's a really big help. And we want to talk about what the critical issues are, and that comes from you folks. Typically, you would discuss that in a selectmen's meeting. The stuff that kind of floats to the top is consensus. So we're looking for those things that immediately need attention, when the person walks through the door, and then those things that may be 1 to 3 years, and then those long-range type issues that they'd be working on. So based on that, I would craft what we call an ideal candidate profile and challenge statement. So that's something that we're able to put out there to the candidates, and they're able to kind of match their skill level, skills and experience with that document. And it's also something we use. I mean, I'll be very familiar with what you need just from working with the community. But anybody else at MRI that's engaged with this, they kind of use that too to be able to understand what it is that you folks need. We would draft the advertisement for you. We would place the advertisement. You have to pay whatever the cost of the ads are. We get good coverage throughout New England. We've been averaging between 65 and 85 candidates per process. We receive and acknowledge all of the resumes at the office. And then at least 2 of us would review and rank all of the resumes as they come through. And we would make a cut down to, usually it ends up being about the top third, 20, 23 candidates, something like that. We send out essay questions that are specific to your community. And again, they're kind of going to go back on what are those strengths that you need, what are those priorities you're going to be setting, what are the big projects at hand. So we'll send out 5 essay questions to each of those top 20, 23 people. They'll have usually 7 to 10 days to submit their answers. And then again, those essays would all be evaluated by 2 of us, where they would then be scored. After that, we would make another cut. While we're scoring the essays, we have someone in the office that's doing more or less an internet check, kind of doing a preliminary background check on these folks to see what issues might be out there that would be a problem for them doing the job or actually being a good candidate. And that's in preparation for the phone calls we make. We then, the 2 of us on this project, then make phone calls to usually the top 12 to 15 candidates. And that's really where we can really start to have a dialogue with these candidates and really begin to assess them. We know what they've written to us in their essays. Now we can kind of evaluate with them one-on-one. And then at that point, we make a cut down to 4 to 6 candidates, and those would be the candidates that we bring for an on-site interview with at least our panel. There'd be 3 of us here. We want to make sure that they see the town. We want to have a presence, so we would typically do those here. We would then make a recommendation to you folks as to probably 3 to be interviewed. And we would send you all of the submittals at that point so that you can see the resume, the cover letter, the essay questions, and any of the stuff that we found out that could be useful to you. And then I would come down and facilitate those interviews. We would then do, based on a decision that you folks would make, we'd help you decide whether you needed a second interview, what you needed to be very comfortable in your selection. Then when you select a candidate, we would make a conditional offer. After the conditional offer is accepted, we do a full background investigation of that candidate. During that time, we hope that we're moving through negotiations, that you folks have engaged counsel, or that you're working through directly with the candidate. Certainly, we can be involved to the extent necessary. So while those negotiations are going on, our background is being done. And then about across that 2-week period, our background is done. We're able to give you the thumbs up, present you with a full background report. And at that point, we would recommend that you sign an agreement.
Start to finish, how long do you think the process takes?
Typically 90 to 120 days. 90 to get the final interviews here.
Yep.
The 120 days is generally start time because we don't know how much time they have to give notice if they're currently employed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
What's the difference? This one is,
That is without the panels.
but this still has 1 panel in it?
MRI.
The MRI panel, I can't really do one without an MRI panel.
No, yeah, no. But
Yeah.
what was the difference?
So one was 11,000 and the full was 14,000, if I remember
And this is
correctly.
with panels for employees, so what is?
We could have, I believe we can actually probably have a community panel
Correct,
and potentially a municipal plant panel.
correct. And there's pros and cons
Right.
to both of those.
I'm just wondering, do you think we need those extra panels? I mean, I guess I would be of the opinion that we wouldn't, but. I mean, again, we're hiring a firm, a reputable firm to do the,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I guess, you know what, I guess give me some of the pros and cons then of them, so I guess I can make a better decision on that.
Sure. There's probably more debate about the employee panel. They're generally looking for something maybe differently than you are. They're looking for somebody that's going to advocate for them, maybe to some degree. So I favor an employee panel less than I would a citizen panel. And the citizen panel really comes down to whether the community feels as if they need to be engaged. At the end of the day, it's really going to be, it's typically going to be the same finalists. Because if your citizen panel picked a candidate that the professional panel felt just wouldn't be the right fit professionally, we would put that person forward to you folks. I mean, we would feel obligated to do that. But we would have to tell you that we didn't really think that this person would do it professionally. So when we do those other panels, at the end of the day, we try to bring everybody together, and my professional panel meets with the citizen panel or the employee panel, or both, and try to reach some consensus. But I can guarantee you that the 3 people that MRI believes are the best candidates are going to make it to you folks. Could there be another candidate that another panel saw value in? Absolutely. Generally, they come out the same. Actually, in 5 years, I haven't seen it come out different.
I'm less concerned with the panels, but it just struck me. Does this ever come to a point where, say, the board and MRI do not agree on a candidate?
It never has. I mean, you folks make the decision. Right. So we're giving you 3 candidates that, in our professional experience, fit what you're looking for, what you've told us you're looking for. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that most often, I mean, we just finished one in Leicester. You know, you feel free to talk to those folks. Kingston, Mass. You know, it's totally up to you folks at the end, and we won't put somebody in front of you that would be a failure.
I'm all right with just doing the one panel.
I mean, if somebody was concerned enough that they wanted to sit in on interviews with you guys, is that something that's not?
We typically don't do that.
Okay.
These are non-public until the point that they come to you folks. And that's the way we prefer it.
To that point, though, if somebody wanted to sit in, it would actually be an open session, so they're fully, I mean, the interviews we have with the candidates have to be an open session.
That you have,
right.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So to your point,
Yep.
rather than a committee, if people were interested in the candidates, it could serve as an interview and a meet and greet at the same time.
It
with
could.
the community.
Well, and there are other ways to get feedback from the community as well. You know, they could send letters that could be forwarded to us, or they could come directly to us.
Yep.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other.
Yes, I'd say go with just the MRI panel, in my opinion. So I guess if that's the case, I'll take a motion to.
Chairman, I move to sign the professional services agreement with Municipal Resources, Inc. That does not include that only includes the MRI panel.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Initialed? We just need to initial this one?
There's one page that requires full signatures, and then there's the addendum section would require initials. So page 8 requires initials.
Okay. Got it.
Now, if we want to get started quickly on this, and most towns do, we would need some information from you folks pretty quickly. And some of that is that, you know, the priorities, the issues, and whatnot. You know, I'm happy to take feedback from the board on that tonight. The board can take some time, come up with some ideas, you know, and forward them to me. You need to decide on a starting range, salary range, perhaps. A job description would be helpful to me, because you're not a clean town administrator position. administrator slash coordinator, right? So that job description would be helpful, and then any minimum qualifications, and they may be defined in charter or by your job description.
Okay, so, I mean, I think we have some information we put together when this process started. We can probably forward that along
Great.
electronically. And I don't know if this is some of the other things you asked for, might be something we do over the phone, just one-on-one.
Absolutely.
Just an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I would love to get it started sooner than later.
Good, so let me work that through Diane then, to get contact info from you folks.
Yep.
And we can do email, I can do interviews over the phone, that would be terrific. All right?
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming in. So we sign this, so what do you want to do? You want to, can you sign this one?
I can.
Are you, yes, you can. And then we'll send you back over a copy?
That'd be great, I'll just leave this with Diane when it's fully executed, and she can just scan us a copy.
Yep, great. All right, so that's done. Next item is to consider signing amended and restated electricity aggregation agreement.
So this is Hampshire Council of the Electricity.
Is this the one that Bob, the town council looked over?
Yeah, Bob looked it over, sent some edits to...
They were okay with it?
They incorporated the edits from town council. So, Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize you to sign the amended and restated electricity aggregation agreement with the Hampshire Council of Governments.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consider signing an agreement between the Mass Coalition of Police.
So, the question...
Oh, is this the dispatch
This is
contract?
dispatch. Do we need to step into executive session to discuss any of this first, or...
Did you guys do anything, did you meet in an executive session last meeting
No.
to approve it?
No. Well, no.
No,
I just wanted to
is,
confirm that all those, that's correct, right?
yes.
Okay, so...
Yep, that was what we approved, yes, so Alex, oh, you have them, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to sign the agreement between the Mass Coalition of Police Local 188A on behalf of the Mendon Police Civilian Employees Association and Town of Mendon, 2-year contract dated July 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2015.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Success. We have a letter of intent for net metering.
Yeah, it's just a quick update. So I met with Northeast Realty. And as they mentioned to us, they were hoping we would become an off-taker of power. And the LOI they had sent to town council had blank in terms of terms and conditions.
Okay.
They will be sending a new one tomorrow we can send on to town council with some specifics. So there's 2 options being presented. One is looking at a lower rate at like kilowatt per hour, and the other is more of a flat discount rate.
Okay.
I asked for the specifics so that we could review them with FinCom. But, you know, from my standpoint, if we take the discount over 20 years, flat 20%, we still have some opportunities for getting to aggregation and other means to reduce our costs that way. So they're sending the specifics over. We want to review send the LOI to Bob again, just because he saw blanks. He said never sign anything blank. I said, yes, I agree. We don't sign things that are blank.
Perfect.
But I think what I want to do is, as a board, do we want to confirm that we are willing to be an off-taker and verbally give Duncan that go-ahead?
Meaning that we would purchase it.
Yeah, actually, Blackstone Valley signed their LOI, so they're taking the bulk of the potential 3 megs that are coming off the site. We'd take up the balance. Although we can't sign it tonight, we can give them a verbal so that when they're pushing it out again,
Yep.
that they know that they've got most of the power
Yeah.
spoken for.
Well, they're taking 2.6, right?
Right, and we're taking
0.4.
0.4
Yeah,
of the 3.
I think, and how much did we actually use as a town? Was that's actually about right around that, so that actually makes sense. I mean, why wouldn't we?
We have an agreement with Constellation. Will that affect that agreement in any way if we commit to solar?
My understanding is it won't. We should confirm that. My understanding is that it would actually be a 20% reduction that we'd have to pay. It wouldn't impact Constellation, though.
Because Constellation would still be the deliverer.
I think so. But we'll confirm that. But Constellation, to me, is an aggregator to some extent, right?
Yeah, we buy power from them.
Right, so we'll confirm if there's any impact to pre-existing.
As in we, you mean?
You. No. We'll figure out who needs to do it, but we should, one, get the Constellation agreement, and then we should bounce that up. Actually, Duncan should probably take a look at it and say, at a high level, you said these things aren't impacted. Confirm that, please. Have town council weigh in on it, and go from there.
Yeah, because that does go till, I think, what, 2015 we looked at it at, so.
All right, so if there's no impact to that, do we as a board think that potentially being an off-taker makes sense? Directionally, it's not binding. Even the LOI that we sign, if we sign, it's not binding.
Right. Yeah,
They're
I
looking
think
for
so.
direction.
I'm okay with it.
Yep.
I am too. So I don't think it requires a vote, but I think we can give Duncan a thumbs up that, yeah, we look like we're going to be a participant in that.
Perfect. Okay. Next item is the special town meeting warrant.
Looks like I don't have.
What's that?
Wants to come up?
Sure.
Yeah, sure, come on. Yeah, please.
Looks like we don't have a quorum, so.
Oh, are we waiting for more people?
Well, we just get moving, we just won't be able to vote or.
Oh, okay.
Ourselves out of us, I guess.
Okay. Do you have an extra one?
So real quick, you want to take my copy? We know we're not in a position to sign this tonight. We're just reviewing the preliminary draft. So the motion I have right here is going right away.
Save it.
So next Monday, we're gonna
Yeah.
to do the authorization and the signing. How do you want to handle it?
What's that? I'll just go right down.
All right.
Before you, then, it might help me to tell you where I'm up to, so you know what information you have available to you, so you can decide what you want. Yeah, just go through if you want.
Okay.
Okay, so not only so obviously we went through quite in detail to update the warrant, so that's obviously in front of you, that's easy enough. But I've also put together the initial spreadsheet we always put together showing all the money sources, where it likely would come from, and what the balances we have left over to are. So we have all kind of numbers and potential sources, if you want to know that, as a starting point, okay?
Sounds good. So, I mean, Lonnie, you think it makes sense for Rich to walk us through by article?
Again, if you want, yeah. The
a high level?
FinCom ones, the first 30.
Sure.
Or 31.
The 31 articles?
31 FinCom articles,
Holy
another
cow,
10
man.
non-FinCom articles.
It's gonna be a long.
How did this meeting get out of control?
We have got a lot.
Go ahead and get started.
Why don't you just walk us through the 31 FinCom?
All right, no problem. Okay. Okay, so starting with the first one. The first one actually doesn't affect any transfer of money. The first one is designed only to reopen Article 3 and to reaffix the salary of all elected officials. That's what Article 3 is meant to do.
Right.
Okay? So, so as you can see, what we've done is not only have we adjusted for the contractual rate increases negotiated by Mr. Tenio, but also in talking to a couple of folks, I feel very confident that we should be able to reinstate all these stipends as well which total about 15,600 per annum.
Good.
And so I've included those as well for your consideration.
Okay, that's great. I mean, it's, a lot of folks have been volunteering a lot of time, and it's good. We think we can do it? Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely think we can do it, yeah. Yeah, but you know my risk tolerance, so.
Yep,
Wouldn't put it there unless it's confident.
understood.
Okay, so the next one is obviously to fund the gentleman that was, the gentleman's organization was just here, right? So that's pretty straightforward. I think, I don't know that you guys made a decision on which dollar value? I didn't think you made a decision on which dollar value package.
I think we're
you're gonna choose,
going
right?
for the lower value, actually. So the motion will probably be running for a little less than that.
Okay, so
more
we-
like 11, I think.
11K?
Is the
Okay.
number.
Okay,
The one thing that Mr. Gould
Advertising.
reminded me was, and depending on how long that advertisement is,
Yeah, so we probably want to rethink that.
we want to include that amount in there.
Right.
I'm sorry, you confused me. Say that one
No,
more time.
there's an advertising cost that Mr. Gould just reminded us about, saying, we do have to foot the advertising expense.
Okay, so let's leave it at 16K for now until we know what it.
Well, it won't be that much, but we'll
Okay,
talk again.
you get back to me, that's fine, yeah, yeah. okay.
Worst case, it's 16,
Right.
right?
Right.
No, I'm serious with that, because it's not going to be more than 16.
I can't imagine it's gonna be $5,000 worth of advertising.
Right,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, I'll talk to Mr. Gould.
okay.
Okay, good, all right. Okay, the next one is a solar interconnection fee. Who's the payee to that? Who gets paid that, do you know?
I think it has to be the state.
The state,
I think they'll file it on our behalf, but we'll maybe confirm with Duncan. We should expect something in our inbox in the morning, Diane, from him,
Okay.
which we'll want to forward to you as well.
Okay, all right, but the objective there,
Yep.
the objective there is to enable the town of Mendon to lease the property fee and have somebody use it to connect to the power grid.
Yeah, this is putting us in queue with the state, right? So we're getting a head start to say, if solar goes in, we're going to need an interconnection fee, or, that hookup.
Yeah.
And that
And that
queue is
hooks us
starting
into
to
the
build up.
grid.
Right.
That hooks us into the grid. Okay,
Right.
that's what I thought, yeah, okay. All right, so the next one's a small, tiny one, and we're just taking that from FinCom salaries, the $200 to take care of the reports, that's easy. Next one, town accountant expenses. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly what Claudia said she needed that for, but that one's gonna come from Selectmen audit expenses, because she's identified that we have more than we need in there. Okay?
Yep.
All right, next one, treasurer collector salaries. So what we did here, and this, and I tell you, I feel bad for the people of Mendon and whoever shows up at the special town meeting, because there's a lot of complexity here that's taken a long time to fight through.
Yep.
And the reason I bring that up right now is because there'll be two line items that are gonna fund treasurer collector salaries.
Yep.
And the reason we've separated it is because we wanted to keep all of the contractual increases separate to other types of increases. So the contractual increases are going to be in a later article. This article basically adds additional money in order to cover the overlap period that occurred because of the high turnover period that was in the office. I mean, she had 2 people turn over, and then one position turned over twice, right?
Right.
So that's really what that's for. Okay. Why?
Do you know?
I did have that. I do get that right? You did. Okay, cool. All right. The next one is just the increase in the detail rate, $300 for that, for elections registrations. The next one, if you recall, last time we talked, I think the board agreed to some training for the Concom clerk, that's the new Concom clerk.
I think our arm was twisted on that by a former Concom clerk that that's a good idea.
Might have been.
Right, a little bit.
Might have been, yeah.
Worked for me.
And then Article 9 being the 30 hours of overlap between,
To get them up
but
and
yeah,
running.
but to get her up and running, that's right, yeah. Okay, next one is all the bills of a prior year. We did do some additional adjustments. I don't know if you want to go through the detail of that. Suffice it to say that it totals to just under $4,400, the bills of prior year. We really were good, not that it matters, but we tried like heck to
That's not a
kill
bad
everything
number.
before we had any. We tried to have
Bad number
none.
on this. This is
Yeah.
good.
Yep, so yeah, we didn't do too badly, yep. Next one is the town coordinator salary. So what I think I'd like to do to start here is, look, we just figured half, 110 we were figuring as the maximum, but to make it nice and clean, I think we particularly given the lead time that that the gentleman told us, it'll be less than a half a year.
Yep.
So to make it nice and clean, let's transfer the exact 53,308 that we saved from the school into that account.
That's fine.
So that's what I'm gonna do there.
And that's fully loaded.
$53,308, yeah.
And that's fully loaded, including.
Half a year fully loaded, yeah.
Okay.
Worst case, fully loaded.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe even less than that, yeah. Okay, so the next one's a smoke detector, so that'll be recurring every year, 3220, Article 12. And obviously, yell if you think any of these that hit here is something we said with priority to. I think we're okay so far, right?
You know what I like, is I'm not surprised by anything so far.
Okay, good.
You wait.
Perfect.
All right, Article 13 is the $300 for the new website. Again, if you remember, that's actually going to save us money, so it's worth every penny spending that. Next one, Article 14, as you recall, Chief Horn suggested that he take a different approach. We reduced it from 30 to 25,000. I'm expecting it to come back with an even lower number, but I'm figuring 25,000 for now.
Okay.
Okay. Article 15 is...
Just real quick, just for I mean, if at the last, what that means is we are instituting some administrative support into public safety again.
Yeah, that'll give them quite a bit, actually.
So this is, once again, one of those areas of investment that, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, right now, the sergeant and the lieutenant are doing a lot of clerking duties that,
That's right.
while
Smiling back there, I can see him.
yeah, which the reality is if
not a
that
good use.
it doesn't mean it's costing us really any extra money out of pocket, but the reality is they're not doing police work that they should be doing.
Right,
So,
right.
okay, so Article 15, we had a dispatch salary deficit in two cases. This is one of two, and I'll point out the other when we get to it. We got more aggressive in trying to, in Chapter 77 transfers at the end of the year to cover expenses than we probably should have, and ended up overdrawing a couple places, overestimating what we could take, basically.
Okay.
So this is just a place we have to fill back in.
Yep.
All right, the next one is the highway construction and maintenance salary. So again, this is the gentleman that we wanted to share between. Parks and, you're right, Parks and, Highway Construction, Highway Department. So, so the way it splits out, just so you have an idea, I got the whole download today on it. The person works at one rate for Parks and Rec 7 months of the year, basically April to October, and then in Highway Construction from November to March, through to March, 5 months at a slightly higher rate. And so this basically covers that 5 months at the slightly higher rate.
Good.
Okay. All right, so then the next one is the $6,000 for highway maintenance and expenses to put back some money that it cost Alan to do quite a bit more work on Taft Ave, the pipe that was leaking into the resident's basement. We ended up requiring 170 feet worth of replacement instead of 20 that he originally estimated. The next one, Article 4. Okay, so this is complicated. I'm still not entirely sure this is what we have to do here. But let's see. Let me take a second and see if I can explain this in the simplest way. Bottom line is that the public water supply expenses are supposed to be being covered by the water users, the 150 water users in town. It is very complicated and very complex to estimate how much water that will be used and how much we will collect in fees and how much we'll have to spend to Hopedale because not only are we on a tiered rate with Hopedale, just like their own users are. So the first X number costs a certain amount, and the next number of cubic feet costs a different amount, and so on, right? Not only that, but we have two sets of meters, and that stepped charge applies to one set of meters, and a straight highest rate charge applies to the other. So calculating how much we think is going to cost us is very complex. And after doing a lot of work and a lot of time and effort, expend a lot of time and effort in this, working with Vinnie Cataldo and the rest of the board of water commissioners, we've identified that we probably have, we've put too much in water expenses and estimated collections too high. So what we need to do is either reduce in both places or transfer money out of water expenses. I'm still unclear exactly how that's going to work. So it's a little confusing at the moment, but I'm working on it with the town accountant.
So,
What article are we on?
We're on,
18?
yeah, 18, yeah.
Oh, you guys are flying.
the question I have on that one, so we have something else on here about, something for water metering, right, later on, somewhere, remember the?
Yes, so the very last one is,
Does
yes.
that investment address in any way, shape, or form the difficulty we have in dealing with Article 18?
To some extent,
Well, that's good then.
to some extent,
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I'll give you more context when we get to that one, but
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, 19, that's the council on aging expenses to replace to put an oil containment system in. Mr. Tatro says that he can do that for $200 or less, so it's basically an insurance requirement.
Okay.
Okay. So Article 20, that plugs the rest of our snow and ice deficit, 22,000. Article 21, Linda, you probably can explain this better than I can. In fact, I don't think I can really explain it that well. I know that the source of this money will be the debt exclusion, so we'll be raising and appropriating it, but I'm unclear why it's just the interest and no principal.
Because for the first year, it's only interest. There's only an interest payment due.
So do one of these annually?
In February, there's one interest payment due.
Okay.
And it's just easier if we, even though it was voted, we'll be paying it above and beyond our taxes.
Right.
It doesn't have to be appropriated through like general funds. But if we appropriate it at a special town meeting, it goes in a different spot. It makes it a little bit cleaner, a little bit neater when we're reporting to the Department of Revenue.
Okay.
If we actually vote to expend those funds.
That
at
motion
a-
again? Anywhere in here?
What?
I don't have to read that motion again, do
No.
I?
The bottom line for me is that we don't have to find a specific source of funds.
No,
It
you
comes
don't.
from the debt exclusion.
Okay,
Correct. Correct.
check. Cool.
Did that confuse you, Mark? You look like
No.
you might, okay, all right. Okay, so next one, Article 22. So if we hearken back to the previous article that related to the highway department resource that we were putting in place for 5 months of the year, from November to March, that person then goes from part-time to full-time, and he's eligible for a single person medical plan, which is $6,000 a year, so half of that's $3,000 for half a year. Did you have a question on it? Okay. So Article 22, so the new cruisers that we bought will cost another $770 for property and casualty, so that's what that is. And I think there's some motorcycles, the normal cycle of motorcycles in and out, as they cycle, they cost a little bit more to cover as
For the
that
lease.
happens. Yeah, they leased, yeah.
Okay. Can I just ask a question, because when I see the vehicles here, has there been an ask for any increase or regarding the automotive repair line item from a budget standpoint at this point? Are we still, as far as we know, we're still running okay?
Yeah, the ask for automotive repair money is one that would be subsumed into the request for increased police expenses. That's a subline item to that.
Okay,
And
so
we do-
it's
and
in
we-
it's
and
in
we
here
have an
somewhere?
ask on the, no, we don't have it in this warrant because, and correct, Sergeant Curtis? No, Sergeant Curtis is not here. Okay, so my last conversations with the sergeant have indicated that they can get by till the spring STM, where we can get more accurate as to what they need.
Okay, and we should, all right. I'm good, thank you.
All right, let's see, so that's, so Article 24, I'm not sure exactly what the fire and accident insurance is, why it went up $60. So did we just miss,
I think we underestimated how much it was going to cost by $60.
so it's just an estimation problem, yes, there's nothing new there, it's just an estimation issue, yeah. Okay, so Article 25, so Article 25 is there to make sure that increases that we have, that we report to the Department of Revenue in local receipts and/or new growth are captured so that we can use it. Okay? So we'll have to find a spot to put it now, and some amount would need to go into FinCom reserve potentially. Maybe some would go in stabilization, which is Article 26. Maybe we put some in capital expenditure, Article 27. So that's what those three are there for. So some combination of those three would absorb the balance of whatever we don't appropriate at
Yep.
this special town
Yep.
meeting. Okay. All right, the next one, 28, is the ambulance. I'm not totally sure I understand. I think the balance in the account at the annual town meeting was less than the entire amount we needed for the year, so this makes the last lease payment, the 5704.53 is what the amount would be, so it comes from that account. Gee, I still have that. I get 2 of those. I have to
So
get rid of that, so
20
29, here, we got a
29's gone?
duplicate, yeah.
Okay.
We got a duplicate. I did that, I guess I did it a couple of times. So I guess it's only 30, 31.
Well, that's a whole other story then. All
Yep,
right.
okay. Article 30, that's the article that then increases all the line items per the salary negotiations and the stipend increases. So again, remember, even though the stipends and the elected officials, we opened it up and we approve it in Article 1, this article actually makes the transfers that make it happen.
Okay.
Okay. And then the last one is the water meters. So the key here, so part of what you said before, right? So we have difficulty in estimating some of these numbers, and a lot of it has to do with our ability to get timely and accurate meter readings. And part of the problem with the current set of meters is it takes a couple of days to get all of the meters read, and they do not get read the same day as the Hopedale meters. If we have these electronic meters, not only are they more accurate, and historically what we're told by the water operator, that the numbers, when they're more accurate, are always more accurate in the larger side, not the shorter side. So in other words, the mechanical meters typically are under-reporting the amount of gallons. But not only is that the case, but also the ability to quickly take the meter readings means that the meters can be read in quick succession after the Hopedale meters, so that the two can be compared, because the delta between the two is theft, loss, or town use. And the ability to calculate that and come up with a number that approximates 10% is key.
Right.
And it's very difficult to do right now.
So this is one we talked about in the last meeting. So this is something that
I'm in favor of that.
okay.
Of doing it.
But there are 2 things just that aren't on here that you want to make sure that the phone system, part 2, is not on here.
Okay.
And then the AC for this building is not on here. So those are
Okay.
2 things. Okay.
Those
Those were 2s, not 1s. This became a 1.
No, that's fine. But yeah, the other things we can do at another time. I
Yep.
mean, I think
They're still out there. We just want to know.
this
if
probably
there's more plan.
makes sense. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, currently, we have the best AC in the building, but we have AC in the building that functions, and you know, the phones are ringing. Yeah, we got new units.
The phones are.
The phones are still ringing, so.
That's a problem.
Well,
That's a problem.
we can I can just unplug it.
I think that's
That's it for
all
you,
the
I
money
think.
articles, yeah, I think so. We have not had time to review the CPC money articles.
For those meters, that Hopeville can do the billing.
That's right.
Oh, that's a good point, I
Yeah.
forgot to mention that. So
Some of that increase on the water side. in terms
that's
of
another
billing.
reason why we don't want to decide on that yet.
Right.
What's that?
Okay, so obviously if we install the electronic meters, right, then the meters are read by a wand. The water operator basically drives by the house.
Right.
Boop, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that wand then goes back to, whoops, excuse me, I'm sorry. That wand then goes back to a base station where it downloads the data as you'd expect, right? And then if they already have a wand, and they already have the base station, and they already have the software, there's no reason why we could just, and they said they're probably willing to do it, we just have to work out the numbers. Because the amount of time it takes the operator to read the meters now goes down, so we shouldn't have to pay as much for meter readings, and we can pay for billing service, which they're doing anyway, costs to all their people. They just got to add 150 households.
In Hopeville.
There's no sense in us buying a wand, buying a software, buying a base station, going
Oh,
through.
saying that we might reduce some of the workload in our
Quite a
water
bit.
office.
Quite a bit, actually.
From what we heard, the 5 hours for water is all about billing, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Right, yeah, that's what yeah.
So if we can eliminate that.
And Hopedale's on board with that?
Well, it has to be discussed.
Oh.
They say, in principle, yeah, it's something we could probably work out.
I think the message I'm hearing is tread carefully on that decision, even though it's 2.5 hours, and how we allocate those hours. It could be a solution, but this is gonna be over 3 years, right? This is not gonna kick in immediately.
Well, okay, so the approach was, for the water commissioners wanted to be reasonable and take a piecemeal approach and say if we could turn all the meters over in a 3-year project, we'd be happy. They figure that the cost would be somewhere, they don't know exactly how much it'll be, but it'll be somewhere between 45,000 and 60,000. So it could be at 15,000, it could be closer to a 4-year project, but it could be a 3-year project, depending upon where exactly the numbers come in.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that's everything. So one last thing, so in order to make sure we hit everything, Diane, myself, and Claudia, we obviously went through all of these to make sure everything was in there. Then we went back to the ask list that we prioritized last week to make sure everything that was in there was over here. So I think we feel pretty confident at the end that we got everything in here that's supposed to be in here.
What are we missing?
No, we got it.
Were we gonna mention?
No, wait a minute now. I thought I got rid of you earlier today.
You get rid of me by putting me on getting me on the warrant.
I did, I put you on here, tax title's on you.
I didn't hear that one.
Which
I
article?
remember talking about it. Did that
Did I miss it?
Did that
Might have missed it.
disappear too?
Was that the double?
You know, maybe it was replaced by one of these dupes.
Okay, then I made a mistake because
It was probably one of those duplicates and
Right.
it never got,
okay, could be, so, okay, so let's
There's a tax-
discuss that one quick.
we're good with tax.
I'll fix it and I'll get it sent back to you, but it was 4,100 and some change additional. And I guess I misunderstood. I thought that in the previous 2 conversations that Mrs. Hawks was looking for a lot more than that, but really what she wants to do is pursue in tax title 12 properties, and she knows that that'll cost the 5,000 she's got plus another $4,200 basically.
Right.
And that seems to make sense to pursue that and make sure that the people realize that the town will pursue its options under the law to get paid for what we should get paid for.
and did you work out the unemployment?
No, I don't have an answer yet as far as, I don't have an answer as far as the actual potential of that. It's there.
So that should be on here too.
I don't know what happened there. I have it in my spreadsheet. I don't understand where, whatever. I'll figure it out.
So there's gonna be a total of
It wa-
3.
I had replaced it, it was 7. Okay, I'll fix it. That's it.
All right.
Perfect.
What's-
Thank you.
Did you need an amount for that?
I just put 4,200 in, that's good enough.
No, for the unemployment, or are we?
Oh, I think we put 1070 in there, it's spillover prior year. Oh, sorry, okay, yeah, well, you have to start that, we didn't talk about that, we don't have it in here.
It's not, so you want to leave it out or no?
Well, why don't you, we probably should tell you
I
about
do
it.
have a potential.
Join us, Linda.
I do have a potential claim for unemployment that came through just today. I just got the information for an employee, and the potential benefits, $2,326.91. That, would be obligated to pay.
Can you give me the number one more time, I'm sorry?
$2,326.91.
Yeah,
The maximum potential benefit charge for this particular person if she's entirely eligible for unemployment through the town, and I'm in the process of getting the answers back to the Department of Unemployment Insurance.
That sounds like a must-do, not a question of whether we do it.
If she's eligible, it is a must-do, but,
Right.
So, I only just found out about it, so I don't know. It's not a
It's
done
fine.
deal yet, but
Believe
it's looking like that.
it or not, the individual left of their own volition, went somewhere else, then got laid off, and now they can still come back to us.
Yeah, they go back to jobs.
Yeah, we learned that before, too. I was surprised by that. So,
I think it has to do with a look-back period.
Yeah.
You can go back as far, as many, I don't know if you're limited to 2, but
I thought it was 2.
I think it's a
Or
period
time.
of time that
Oh.
you're looking at.
So you have to do some, she just got it, you have to do some research.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you're just gonna make a decision whether you wanna put it on to be safe or not.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if it's a must-do, we might, it's not like we're not gonna.
Will we know by November whether we actually,
Yes.
okay, so that
if we
makes
can
sense.
swing it, we're going to put it into an account, and if it turns out that nothing happens, it's going to sit there, right? So it's a
Right.
matter of,
But I think you're saying that we probably know by.
We could pass over
I would
it.
hope so, yeah, I'm just looking
Right.
for some direction from public safety as far as what the conditions of the donation were.
Diane, the copy I have in front of me has Article 7 as the tax title, so I don't know why this came out like that. I can't explain it, but.
Throwing you right under the
Welcome to
bus.
my world, you know?
So I don't know,
She
but-
didn't print the next copy.
Gremlins.
Thanks for your support, Lon.
You're welcome.
So let me add this one here, and I'll send it to you, okay?
All right.
Okay, so the next one is a Board of Selectmen's article.
Thank you.
This has to do with the possible Cumberland Farms. Did Bill come up?
No. Is he downstairs still?
I didn't even go all the way down. Supposed to have some further. He's probably in his planning board meeting. I don't know if they're done. You can definitely go check if you'd like, but this would be in relation to the easement for the well.
Right, so this, and we can repeat it when the gentleman returns, but this is just to give us, the town, to give us the authority to negotiate. This is not binding. It's
Right.
saying we're not granting the easement, this is just saying we can start talking about that process. So I'm not sure, Diane, if you're waiting on the review and then the need, the amount, and the exact location, et cetera.
That's only for the motion.
Okay.
This suffices
So we
for
sent-
an article.
Okay, but we need more detail.
For the motion itself, yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Sorry, so what this article would do, just, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Hi, Phil Lombardo for Cumberland Farms.
Gotcha.
See you again.
So again, this article right here would just give us the ability to negotiate a deal for that.
Yes.
This article isn't to approve it or deny it or anything along those lines.
That's our understanding. It's I guess you've referred to these things before, excuse me, as a placeholder.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, so,
So there would be a process after this. Once the town says, it's okay, selectmen, go ahead and do your job, we'd probably revisit an open session and, well, at least in terms of understanding what it is, and getting into more of the specifics.
We've agreed we would fund the appraisal. I don't think you're limited to that by any means, and it's just I guess a starting point. And it's an opportunity for us to negotiate with you, the selectmen.
Yep. And the only thing that I know that, because at the last meeting we got a little more information is, and the reason why I think we're asking Bill to join us is more of, I'd still like to better understand the ongoing process, or the next steps after that the gentleman brought to our attention in terms of, this is step one in terms of this water source, but there's potentially other hurdles we're gonna need to get by that may impact land use, is my understanding. So this is fine in my mind in terms of this placeholder, but there are some more steps that we probably want to understand as we get into the specifics.
I guess my question is that as we approach town meeting, by way of explanation, we'll try to do the best we can in terms of explaining how the permitting process works with the Board of Health, which is overseen then by the DEP.
Yep.
And we have such a long process. We have a planning board process. There's, none of it happens, however, if we can't negotiate a deal with you. And in some respects, there's no point permitting anything, because we have to have this deal first. And so this is really as you say, it's a first step.
Yep.
what, just for, out of sheer curiosity, what's the style of the buildings aesthetically, from the street view?
Yeah, what they're doing is a colonial look to the building, and I'm trying to, there's one in Southborough on Route 9, right on Route 9, right near the interchange of 495. That is, I think, more of a colonial style. They just recently built one in Leominster, colonial style. I'm trying to think of others, but they're aesthetically, I'm trying to match kind of a New England look.
Gotcha.
And
So not a brick building?
No. I mean, they don't have a tin ear when it comes to reacting to community requests, but we're finding that in communities like Mendon, that a colonial look to the building is nice and clean. They have a mansard roof with a gable looking windows that come out. It's actually a pretty nice looking
Gotcha.
feature.
Thanks. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is, next three articles are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 next piece CPC articles. Vote to amend. We're gonna amend Article 19 from the annual town meeting warrant to include and for the purpose of paving handicap parking spaces in the ball field parking lots. Or take any action in relation there too. Pretty sure that's pretty self-explanatory. So probably some money that was gonna be used, that now they're just adding another use for that area. Transfer some money to the open space account to fund the Department of Conservation Recreation Trails grant for the Mendon Town Forest, contingent upon the award of the grant. So that would be $8,000. Let's see if this town will transfer a sum of money from community preservation account to purchase the paddock property at 52 Providence Street. This source, they're still working on this article. Again.
Yeah, and we're supposed to get an amount that the owners were looking to sell the property for, and we haven't gotten that yet. So that's why that's left blank as well.
Okay. The next one is for okay, so I'm just going to read it because I guess Ann will be able to explain this better. But on the FY14 community preservation budget, and to appropriate or reserve for later appropriation monies from the Community Preservation Fund, annual revenues, or available funds for administrative expenses of the Community Preservation Committee, the payment of debt service, and undertaking of community preservation projects, and all other necessary and proper expenses for the year.
I think that's just a motion that's to be made, an article that has to go in every year to use.
Why don't we do it at
funds.
the annual, though?
That's a good question. Maybe it was supposed to be done at the annual and it wasn't? I don't know. I can ask her for next week.
To see if the town will vote to appropriate and authorize the treasurer with the approval of the selectmen under the authority of Chapter 44, B, the Community Preservation Act, $580,000 from the Community Preservation Budget Reserve Account for the purpose of purchasing for conservation and passive recreation, known as the Gannett property, 97 acres, as located south of Park Street in Mendon on the John and Uday Gannett properties. I'm going to skip the legal definition.
Contingent upon.
This vote is contingent on the $315,630,000 partial reimbursement of the land grant to the Community Preservation Budget Reserve account, the positive vote to appropriate or take any action in their relation thereto. So we have, next one is for land use, to see if the town will vote to transfer from stabilization to funding Mendon Green Communities energy efficiency projects and reimburse stabilization upon receipt of final disbursement of the Green Communities money, $5,000.
So this is, what we've done in the past is paid it up front and reimbursed once the state gives us the funds.
Planning Board, bylaw changes, not reading those. This was the stuff that was originally done at a couple, what is it, 1 or 2 special town meetings? We've tried this already?
Yep.
Was this the one we've done at 2 special town meetings already? We've tried to?
Yeah,
So this would be the third go-around?
this was actually stated before that they were gonna get a special town meeting by itself for the bylaws,
Yep.
but now it's on this warrant.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
Did
this
you ask
is
me?
gonna be
I asked you if you wanted
fast,
it.
because this warrant is gonna be already very lengthy, and then.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to put it on this one.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna sit there till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but when are we gonna put it on? I mean, generally we do one.
Well, I
We
would-
used to talk about September for this type of thing, right?
Well, yeah, but we didn't do one in September, so so why don't we do a meeting in like January or something? The end of January, a special town meeting, or February or something. Just for this, and any, I mean, we skipped our general September one.
The only thing I'd say, if, maybe let Bill weigh in, if there's if this is, do they have a time, are they time constrained, right?
Well, I mean, it's already, because we didn't pass anything, because we kind of half-passed it.
Right.
But we've been flying, I mean, I don't know that another
Not in
month.
terms of risk, just in terms of their posted hearings and all that. I don't know if there's sort of, kind of like a vote needs to
Yeah, all
take
right,
within 90 days.
when he comes up, okay, let's go. All right, oh, I see what you're saying, any legal time stamps.
Oh, right.
Not that we're flying blind without uses for the
Article
things we zone.
40,
You know.
this is just an additional, because of that bylaw.
Right.
41 and 42, capital planning.
Are we taking that out?
So we're taking these off, I think, till annual, right?
Yeah.
Taking these off, Rich?
The last one is the capital.
The very last one?
That seems like the general consensus.
Do you think we should move the stabilization fund question to the same time we're funding? I mean, should we just move them? Well, there's two, one to establish a stabilization fund, then one to fund it, right?
Number 30,
No,
41 and 42.
FX stabilization.
Right,
Yeah, I don't know why you split them up together.
right, so move them both to annual.
I guess that's what I would do.
No, that's, yeah, because somebody said move one, I'm like, no, I think we should move two. Both. Move them together.
It'd be hard to explain the one without the other together.
Would be interesting, you know. And it would be from the capital planning committee, so it wouldn't be us.
well, yeah, it doesn't matter, the whole sheet's us. Let me go ask Bill real quick. You guys want to talk about something else, hold on.
How about, want to give them a few minutes, we can blow through some of these smaller approval things?
Yeah.
Just give them a few minutes. I mean,
Does somebody want to go see if he's still in his meal? Oh, he probably is. All right,
Bill, can you go down and see if Bill Ambrosino is still, well, I'm
you want me
sorry.
to go?
Yeah, would you mind?
Okay.
just see if, just ask him,
does he plan on coming up?
just ask him what time he's coming up.
Okay.
I know you will.
Yes, sir.
That-
We've got to vote and sign this next Monday.
Yeah. La. Cumberland Farms. Well, we kind of talked about that one in that one. Consider appointing Dave Kersey. Okay. Are these guys to the Insurance Advisory Council? Are these guys okay with that?
I think they requested it, right?
Okay. So Dave Kersey and Mark Burkino, if you want to.
Okay.
I move to appoint Dave Kersey, Police Department Representative, and Mark Bikino, Fire Department Representative, to the Insurance Advisory Committee for a term to expire June 30th, 2014.
Second?
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Did you do them both in the one?
I did them both in the one.
Maybe you should ask that in discussion. Okay, we have an open police officer position. I think the guys are gonna come up and talk about this, but I know I can touch on it really quick. We had one officer leave and go to, I forget the name of the town. Sturbridge, was it? Yeah, somewhere out in the bridges. And, actually, a former officer has, expressed some interest in coming back, so.
Why did he leave in the first place?
He got laid off.
Oh.
He was part of the layoffs. So.
Come on, he's gone.
He's gone. He forgot all about us, did he? So take his bylaw off. No, we have until next Monday to figure it out. So they'll come up in a few minutes. Consider appointing part-time police dispatchers. Oh, that was this. Again, these are. If you guys want to, they don't cost us anything. They're just
I move to
more people in the
appoint
pool.
Victoria R. News and Chantel G. Smith as part-time dispatchers at a rate of $16 per hour, effective, is there a date that the?
October 21st. As of today, I guess.
Effective October 21st, 2013.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Margaret would like to be appointed to the website committee.
I move to appoint Margaret Bonarenko, 17 Washington Street, to the website committee with a term to expire June 30th, 2014.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Foxwoods discussion? Do we have anything new on that?
Well, yeah, we got a meeting Thursday morning. Some folks are coming in from CMRPC and MAPC, so I'm gonna meet with them at 8 o'clock here. I know you're out of town, Mark.
Yep.
Lonnie, I'm not sure if you plan on attending or not. If you do, then Diane will post us for a
Say it-
meeting.
Say it again.
Thursday morning at 8, probably 8 to 8:30, where
Where?
they're here.
8 to 8:30?
Well, she'll be here, they'll be here between 8 and 8:10.
Who's coming? Foxwoods is coming?
No, this is with CMRPC and
MAPC.
NMAPC.
Who's coming? You're going?
I'm going.
Okay.
And they're gonna give us sort of a quick, high-level overview of things we should think about doing. At the same time, we're also, town council is going to draft a letter of, I'm not sure if it's a letter, solicitation is the right word, but we're gonna basically send the official letter requesting we be considered a surrounding community. And spoke to him today about that. And part of the information that we get on Thursday may be incorporated into that letter, but we're gonna look to fast-track that, get that in front of people. And, you know, we have not missed any deadlines. The only deadline that's really applicable is if, is our ability to solicit the state within 10 days of Foxwoods applying for that second permit or second license that we heard about when we were in Hopedale. Other than this is more of soliciting, saying, we think we are, do you think we are? And if we agree, then we don't have to petition the state.
Anything else? Discuss municipal clerk? Nothing? Oh, that's just, these are ongoing, capital expenditure account ongoing. We already discussed that. Approved meeting minutes for September 23rd, 30, October 7.
So I move to approve the regular session meeting minutes and executive session meeting minutes not to be released of September 23rd and 30th and October 7th regular meeting minutes as written.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Executive session?
No, we still got a
There's
couple things.
a couple more things to sign.
Huh?
There's a couple things to sign. Did I write two things there?
I move to authorize Chairman Lonnie Tino to sign the contract agreement with Andrews Survey and Engineering Incorporated for an instrument survey to stake lot line between parcel A and lot 48 on Warfield Road.
Okay.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. One more.
Mr. Chairman, I have another such request.
Wonderful.
I move to authorize Lonnie Tino to sign the COA contract grant with the Executive Office of Elder Affairs.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So are we going to move into executive session?
Mm-hmm. There's two things.
Because we just signed that one, right? We don't need to discuss the dispatch contract.
Yeah, and yeah, there's, yep. Yep, that's fine.
Do we need to wait for the chief, or are we good to go?
He's coming.
Shall we move into executive session?
We shall.
Chairman, I move to enter into executive session under Mass General Law, C-30A, Section 21, to discuss strategy relating to discuss deployment or strategy regarding security personnel or devices. A roll call vote is needed. The meeting will reconvene only to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Goddard, aye.
Tenio, aye.
Real eye.
Good night, everybody. You need to stay.
I'm gonna go shut the thing.
Thank you, Will. If you don't mind staying.
Okay.
I know you. It won't even be.
Hey, I think for all those people that thought this was a long one, Lonnie,
We're on.